Imagine this. You're standing at a crossroads, not a literal one paved with asphalt and marked by signs, but an internal juncture. To one side stretches a well-trodden path, familiar and predictable, the route society laid out, the expectations whispered by family and echoed in the endless scroll of social media. It's a path paved with milestones, the right education, the respectable career, the acquisition of possessions, the carefully curated relationships. You walk it, day after day, achieving, accumulating, ticking off the boxes. Yet a persistent unease gnaws at the edges of your awareness, a low hum of dissatisfaction that no achievement quite silences. You have what you were told you should want, yet the promised fulfillment remains elusive, a mirage shimmering just beyond your grasp. Consider the paradox. You are busy, relentlessly so. Your calendar is a battlefield of appointments and obligations. You are connected, tethered to a network of acquaintances and online interactions. You are, by all outward metrics, successful. But late at night, when the digital noise fades and the applause of the day recedes, a stark silence descends. In that quiet, a disquieting question surfaces. Is this all there is? A hollowness resonates within, a sense of living a life that feels strangely borrowed. Like an actor reciting lines from a script they didn't write, playing a role that doesn't quite fit. Think about the subtle betrayals you commit against yourself daily, the stifled impulses, the unexpressed longings, the quiet compromises made in the name of practicality or acceptance. Each small act of self-denial, each instance where you choose the safe harbor of expectation over the turbulent sea of your own desires, chips away at your authentic self. You become a collection of shoulds and musts, a carefully constructed facade built to navigate the external world, while the vibrant, unique individual within slowly suffocates. Have you ever felt like an observer in your own life? Watching yourself go through the motions, achieving goals that don't ignite passion, engaging in conversations that don't stir your soul. It's as if a vital connection has been severed, the thread between your inner landscape and your outward existence, frayed and broken. You might find solace in fleeting distractions, the rush of a new purchase, the temporary validation of a like or a comment, the numbing embrace of routine. But these are mere bandages on a deeper wound, temporary salves for a chronic ache. What if the life you are currently living, the one you've diligently constructed brick by brick, is not truly yours? What if the emptiness you feel is not a sign of personal failure, but a symptom of a profound disconnect? A chasm between the life you are living and the life you were meant to live? What if the relentless pursuit of external validation is a desperate attempt to fill a void that can only be addressed by turning inward, by excavating the buried desires and forgotten dreams that whisper from the depths of your being? This isn't about laziness or a lack of ambition. You might be working harder than ever, striving tirelessly. The emptiness persists precisely because your efforts are directed outward, towards objectives that resonate with the expectations of others, not the authentic yearnings of your soul. You are climbing the ladder of success, only to realize it's leaning against the wrong wall. Consider the quiet rebellion brewing within you, the subtle acts of procrastination, the moments of profound apathy that punctuate your otherwise productive days. These aren't signs of weakness. They might be the desperate cries of your authentic self, a refusal to fully participate in a life that feels fundamentally misaligned. They are whispers of a different possibility, a life lived in vibrant color rather than muted shades of gray. So, what is this pervasive feeling of emptiness that haunts so many seemingly successful lives? Where does it originate, and why does it persist despite our best efforts to banish it with achievement and acquisition? What hidden forces are at play, subtly steering us away from our true selves and towards a life that feels increasingly hollow? And, perhaps most importantly, is there a way to bridge this chasm, to dismantle the facade and finally inhabit a life that truly resonates with the depths of our being? The answers, unsettling and profound, lie in understanding the hidden problem at its root. The hidden problem, the wellspring of this pervasive emptiness, lies in the chasm between the constructed self and the authentic self. The constructed self is the identity we painstakingly build through societal conditioning, familial expectations, and the relentless pursuit of external validation. It's the carefully curated persona we present to the world, often at the expense of our genuine desires, values, and inclinations. The authentic self, on the other hand, is the raw, unfiltered essence of who we are. Our innate talents, our deepest passions, our unique way of seeing and interacting with the world. The emptiness you feel is the direct consequence of neglecting this authentic core, of prioritizing the demands of the constructed self over the whispers of your true being. Philosophical giants throughout history have grappled with this fundamental dichotomy. Carl Jung, with his concept of individuation, spoke of the lifelong journey of integrating the conscious and unconscious aspects of the self, a process essential for psychological wholeness. The unlived life, in Jungian terms, is a life where the shadow, the disowned and repressed aspects of our personality, remains unacknowledged and unintegrated, leading to a sense of incompleteness and inner conflict. When we deny parts of ourselves to fit societal molds, we sever vital connections to our inner wellspring of vitality and meaning. Friedrich Nietzsche, with his critique of herd morality and the emphasis on the Übermensch, the individual who transcends societal norms and creates their own values, warned against the dangers of living a life dictated by external forces. The feeling of emptiness, from a Nietzschean perspective, could be seen as the consequence of a will to power that has been misdirected, channeled into the acquisition of external markers of success, rather than the cultivation of one's own unique strengths and creative potential. When our lives are driven by the expectations of the herd, we inevitably experience a sense of alienation from our own individual truth. Arthur Schopenhauer, with his focus on the inherent suffering arising from the relentless pursuit of desires, might argue that the emptiness stems from the realization that even the attainment of our constructed desires fails to bring lasting satisfaction. The will in Schopenhauer's philosophy is a blind, striving force that can never be truly fulfilled. The unlived life, then, could be characterized by a perpetual chasing of fleeting pleasures, a desperate attempt to fill an inner void with external gratifications that are inherently transient. Jean-Paul Sartre, the champion of existentialism, would likely contend that the emptiness arises from a failure to embrace our radical freedom and responsibility. To live authentically, according to Sartre, is to confront the inherent meaninglessness of existence and to create our own meaning through our choices and actions. The unlived life, in this context, is a life lived in bad faith, where we deny our freedom by conforming to societal expectations and predefined roles, thus abdicating the responsibility of defining our own essence. This denial of our authentic freedom inevitably leads to a sense of alienation and meaninglessness. Aldous Huxley, in his dystopian novel Brave New World, paints a chilling picture of a society where individual desires and authentic emotions are suppressed in favor of social stability and engineered happiness. The emptiness felt by those who begin to question this manufactured reality highlights the inherent human need for genuine connection, meaning, and the freedom to experience the full spectrum of human emotions, even the uncomfortable ones. A life devoid of authentic struggle and self-discovery, even if seemingly comfortable, can feel profoundly empty. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and the founder of logotherapy, emphasized the fundamental human drive for meaning. He observed that even in the most horrific circumstances, those who could find a sense of purpose were more likely to survive. The emptiness we feel in our relatively comfortable modern lives might stem from a lack of a compelling sense of meaning, a feeling that our lives are not contributing to something larger than ourselves. When our existence lacks a guiding purpose that resonates with our deepest values, a void inevitably opens up. The relentless pressures of modern society exacerbate this disconnect. We are bombarded with idealized images of success, beauty, and happiness, creating a constant sense of inadequacy and driving us to pursue externally defined goals. Social media amplifies this effect, fostering a culture of comparison and performative living, where the carefully curated online persona often bears little resemblance to the messy reality of our inner lives. This constant striving for external validation further distances us from our authentic selves, trapping us in a cycle of seeking approval rather than cultivating genuine self-acceptance. The roots of the unlived life are deep and intertwined, drawing from psychological defense mechanisms, philosophical anxieties, and societal pressures. It's a state of being where the constructed self reigns supreme, silencing the authentic voice within. This silencing doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual erosion, a series of small compromises that accumulate over time, leading to a profound sense of alienation from our own potential and a nagging feeling that something essential is missing. This hidden problem, this prioritization of the external over the internal, has far-reaching and often unseen consequences on our individual well-being and the fabric of society itself. The unseen consequences of living an unlived life ripple outwards, affecting not only our inner landscape, but also our relationships, our creativity, and our engagement with the world. This internal disconnect manifests in subtle yet pervasive ways, shaping our perceptions and limiting our potential in profound and often unconscious ways. Consider the insidious influence of cognitive biases. Confirmation bias, for instance, leads us to seek out information and experiences that reinforce our existing beliefs and the choices we've already made, even if those choices were driven by external pressures rather than our authentic desires. We become invested in the narrative of our constructed self, unconsciously filtering out anything that might challenge its validity or expose the underlying emptiness. This creates a self-perpetuating cycle where the further we stray from our authentic path, the more resistant we become to recognizing the misalignment. Similarly, the fear of missing out, FOMO, amplified by social media, constantly bombards us with curated highlights of other people's seemingly fulfilling lives. This fuels a sense of inadequacy and reinforces the notion that we, too, must chase these external markers of success and happiness, further distracting us from the internal work of discovering our own unique values and aspirations. We become trapped in a perpetual state of comparison, measuring our own incomplete inner world against the polished exteriors of others, deepening the feeling of emptiness. Neurological insights also shed light on this phenomenon. When we consistently suppress our authentic emotions and desires, our brains adapt. Neural pathways associated with self-expression and intrinsic motivation can become less active, while those related to conformity and external validation become strengthened. This neurological rewiring makes it increasingly difficult to access our true selves and to act in alignment with our deepest values. The longer we live inauthentically, the more ingrained this pattern becomes, making the journey back to our true selves feel daunting and unfamiliar. Culturally, we are often conditioned to prioritize external achievements and material possessions as measures of worth. From a young age, we are subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, steered towards certain career paths, relationship models, and lifestyles that are deemed successful by society. This cultural conditioning can create a powerful undercurrent that pulls us away from our individual inclinations, making it feel almost rebellious to pursue a path that deviates from the norm. The fear of judgment, of disappointing others, or of failing to meet these external expectations can be a powerful deterrent to living authentically. The unlived life also breeds a subtle form of resentment, a simmering dissatisfaction that can manifest as cynicism, negativity, or even passive aggression. When our own needs and desires are consistently unmet, we may unconsciously project this frustration onto others, becoming critical of those who seem to be living more authentically or who dare to defy societal norms. This resentment further isolates us, preventing us from forming genuine connections based on shared vulnerability and authentic self-expression. Our creativity and vitality also suffer. When we are not living in alignment with our passions, our natural curiosity and innovative spirit can become stifled. The energy that could be channeled into meaningful pursuits is instead diverted into maintaining the facade of the constructed self and managing the underlying feelings of emptiness. We may experience a lack of motivation, a sense of stagnation, and a diminished capacity for joy and wonder. The world around us can begin to feel dull and lifeless, reflecting the inner emptiness we feel. The urgency of escaping this unseen trap lies in the realization that time is finite. Each day spent living an unlived life is a day further removed from the potential for genuine fulfillment and self-discovery. The longer we postpone the journey inward, the more deeply entrenched the patterns of inauthenticity become, and the harder it may be to reconnect with our true selves. The subtle aches and dissatisfactions of the unlived life can eventually manifest as more significant psychological and even physical ailments, serving as desperate signals from a neglected soul. We may find ourselves in relationships that lack depth and intimacy, built on shared external circumstances rather than genuine connection and mutual understanding. We may pursue careers that offer financial security, but leave us feeling intellectually and emotionally unfulfilled. We may accumulate possessions that fail to provide lasting satisfaction. The unseen consequence is a life that, despite its outward appearances, feels increasingly devoid of meaning, purpose, and genuine joy. The weight of this unlived potential can become a heavy burden, a constant source of low-level anxiety, and a persistent feeling that we are somehow missing out on our own lives. The path to breaking free requires a fundamental shift in perspective, a willingness to question the very foundations upon which we have built our constructed selves. The rebellion against the unlived life begins with a radical act of self-inquiry. It demands a courageous turning inward, a willingness to dismantle the carefully constructed edifice of the ego and confront the raw, unfiltered landscape of our authentic selves. This is not a comfortable process. It involves facing uncomfortable truths, acknowledging buried desires, and questioning long-held beliefs about who we are and what we should be. One counterintuitive solution lies in embracing discomfort. For too long, we have been conditioned to seek out pleasure and avoid pain, both physical and emotional. However, growth and self-discovery often emerge from moments of discomfort. It is in confronting our fears, navigating challenging emotions, and stepping outside our comfort zones that we learn about our resilience, our true values, and our untapped potential. The unlived life is often characterized by an overemphasis on security and predictability, a fear of the unknown that keeps us trapped in familiar but ultimately unsatisfying patterns. Embracing discomfort, paradoxically, can lead to a deeper sense of aliveness and authenticity. Another crucial shift involves redefining success. Our society often equates success with external markers: wealth, status, power. The rebellion against the unlived life requires us to cultivate an internal compass of success, one that is aligned with our authentic values and passions. This might mean prioritizing experiences over possessions, creativity over conformity, and meaningful connections over superficial achievements. True success, in this context, is not about what we have accumulated, but about who we have become and the impact we have on the world in a way that resonates with our deepest selves. Historical examples abound of individuals who defied societal expectations and embraced their authentic paths, often facing significant challenges and criticism. Think of artists who pursued their creative visions despite financial hardship, scientists who challenged prevailing paradigms in the face of ridicule, or activists who risked their safety to fight for social justice. Their lives, though perhaps not always easy, were marked by a profound sense of purpose and fulfillment that stemmed from living in alignment with their inner truth. These examples serve as powerful reminders that the rewards of an authentic life far outweigh the perceived risks of deviating from the norm. Mindfulness and introspection become essential tools in this rebellion. Practices such as meditation, journaling, and spending time in nature can help us to quiet the external noise and connect with our inner voice. By cultivating self-awareness, we can begin to identify the patterns of thought and behavior that are driven by external conditioning rather than our authentic desires. We can start to discern the subtle whispers of our true selves amidst the clamor of societal expectations. Furthermore, breaking free from the unlived life requires us to challenge the narratives we tell ourselves. We often create stories about who we are and what is possible for us based on past experiences and the expectations of others. These narratives can become self-limiting, preventing us from pursuing our true passions and embracing new possibilities. By consciously examining these stories and questioning their validity, we can begin to rewrite them in a way that aligns with our authentic desires and potential. Finally, the rebellion is not a solitary act. Connecting with others who are also on a path of self-discovery and authenticity can provide invaluable support and encouragement. Sharing our vulnerabilities and aspirations with trusted individuals can help us to feel less alone in our journey and reinforce our commitment to living a more authentic life. Finding a community of like-minded individuals can create a powerful sense of belonging and validation that counteracts the pressures of conformity. Finally, the rebellion is not a solitary act. Connecting with others who are also on a path of self-discovery and authenticity can provide invaluable support and encouragement. Sharing our vulnerabilities and aspirations with trusted individuals can help us to feel less alone in our journey and reinforce our commitment to living a more authentic life. Finding a community of like-minded individuals can create a powerful sense of belonging and validation that counteracts the pressures of conformity. This rebellion against the unlived life is not about rejecting all societal norms or abandoning all responsibilities. It is about consciously choosing which norms and responsibilities align with our authentic selves and which ones we have adopted out of fear or obligation. It is about living a life that is driven by our inner compass rather than the external dictates of a world that often prioritizes conformity over individuality. It is about reclaiming our agency and actively shaping a life that feels meaningful, purposeful, and truly our own. This act of rebellion, this courageous step towards authenticity, paves the way for the ultimate truth to be revealed. The ultimate truth that emerges from this rebellion is the profound realization that the life you are seeking is not something to be found, but something to be created. The emptiness you felt was not a void waiting to be filled by external validation or societal approval, but a space waiting to be inhabited by your authentic self, by the unique tapestry of your values, passions, and purpose. The constructed self operates under the illusion that fulfillment lies in achieving predetermined milestones, in acquiring external markers of success, in fitting into pre-existing molds. It chases shadows, mistaking the reflections of a life well lived for the genuine article. The authentic self, however, understands that true fulfillment arises from the process of becoming, from the courageous act of self-expression, from the unwavering commitment to living in alignment with one's inner truth. This realization shatters the illusion of a fixed destination. There is no magic formula, no ultimate achievement that will suddenly bestow lasting happiness and meaning. Life is not a static state to be reached, but a dynamic process to be embraced. The journey of self-discovery and authentic living is not a linear path with a clear endpoint, but a continuous unfolding, a lifelong exploration of our inner landscape and our relationship with the world. The power lies not in conforming to an external ideal, but in cultivating the courage to define your own. It's about recognizing that your unique blend of talents, experiences, and perspectives is not a deviation from some imagined norm, but the very essence of your potential contribution to the world. The emptiness fades not when you finally achieve what others expect of you, but when you wholeheartedly embrace who you truly are and begin to live a life that reflects that truth. This understanding liberates you from the shackles of comparison. The curated realities of others lose their power when you recognize that your own authentic journey is the only one that truly matters. The pursuit of external validation becomes a distraction when you discover the profound sense of self-acceptance that arises from living in alignment with your own values. The ultimate truth is that you are the architect of your own meaning. There is no universal script for a fulfilling life. It is a story that you must write yourself, day by day, through your choices, your actions, and your unwavering commitment to your authentic self. The emptiness you felt was the silence before the creation, the fertile void waiting to be filled with the music of your own unique existence. This is not to say that external achievements and relationships are meaningless. Rather, their true value lies in their ability to enhance and enrich a life that is already rooted in authenticity. When our pursuits and connections stem from a genuine expression of our inner selves, they become sources of joy and fulfillment rather than desperate attempts to fill an internal void. The final realization is one of profound responsibility and exhilarating freedom. You are responsible for creating a life that resonates with your soul, and you are free to define what that life looks like. This freedom can be daunting, but it is also the source of immense power and potential. By embracing this responsibility and stepping into this freedom, you move from being a passive recipient of life to an active creator of your own destiny. The unlived life is a state of suspended animation, a potentiality that remains unrealized. The act of breaking free is the act of bringing that potential to life, of igniting the spark of your authentic self and allowing it to illuminate your path. The emptiness dissolves not when you find the answers, but when you begin to live the questions, when you embrace the uncertainty and the vulnerability of a life lived on your own terms. So, step out of the shadows of expectation and into the light of your own being. The life you yearn for is not a distant destination, but a journey that begins with the courageous act of embracing your authentic self and creating a world that reflects its unique beauty and potential. The silence of emptiness gives way to the vibrant symphony of a life lived fully, authentically, and without reservation.